Welcome, one and all, to the March 24th edition of Signals from Mars. I'm your host, Victor, and above me we have Mr. Brad Dahl out in Utah, and we have Johan in Sweden. How is everyone tonight?
Brilliant. Let's see. Yeah, that Johan.
I say like Brad, brilliant.
Excellent. We have Jose in the chat. Hope everything is well on the East Coast.
Hey, Jose.
And Jeremy was going to be joining us, but a last minute emergency happened, so he will not be able to join us. Interesting that Brad, you weren't going to be joining us, but a last minute changed that. So
Yeah, it's been a weird day. I was supposed to be not quite halfway to Vegas at this point in time, but things didn't work out for that.
You going for a show or something?
Yeah. I was going to go see Roxanne, the band Roxanne.
Oh wow!
Said Metal Dan turned me on to them, and I really like their stuff. I love their new album, and I really wanted to see them, but Vegas kind of worked against me on this one.
You're ready to jump on the private jet and everything, but
but there's something about the landing. I don't know.
Yeah, you couldn't stick the landing. Okay. We also have Tony in the chat as well.
Hey, Tony.
And oh wow. Enjoy your walk, sir. Nice. We have a few questions that between Jeremy and myself we actually came up with, mostly Jeremy. But yeah, so he mentioned that there's speculation that Oasis may be reforming. So he was keen about me bringing this up, especially he was interested to see what Johan's answer would be. And good. The question is, what hard rock and metal band would we like to see reform?
Oh, wow.
Johan, is there any hard rock and metal band that you'd like to see reform?
First of all, I would like to see, it's not perhaps politically correct in my world to say it, but I would like to see Rush with a new drummer. Not in that it wasn't any wrong with Neil Peart, but I would like to see them again. I have thought about it, and it's hard to come up with an answer, but I would like to see In Flames reunited again as the original band and write music together again. Yeah. So for now, that's all I could think of, but Rush would be amazing. I mean, Geddy and Alex are still playing music, and so I mean, to see them again, that would be absolutely fantastic.
Okay, so two-part question. One, who would be the drummer? And B, would it be fine if they did it under a different name?
The name, I mean, sure. Why? It doesn't matter that much. I would like to hear their songs again, but drummer, I have. Help me out. The Dream Theater drummer,
Mike Portnoy,
of course, Mike Portnoy,
not the current one. Mike Mangini.
Mike Mangini's the current one.
But Mike Portnoy.
But Mike Portnoy, it's his DNA. I think he would lose his mind if he got to play with Eddie and Alex. I mean, he would just be like, "You don't even have to pay me."
Right.
Or different drummers. Do a thing of it, go around the world with 5 drummers to do it.
Then they'd all be fighting over who's going to get to play what, That's an interesting idea, Johan. I would love to see something like that, but I don't see that happening.
Oh, but
everybody wants Alex and Getty to get out there and play, and they have played. What was that thing that they did? The
Yeah,
South Park thing, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Who played drums on that? Was that the
Ooh.
Primus guy?
I don't
Stuart,
remember. Let's see.
Stuart Copeland. That's an interesting choice. I don't. Stuart Copeland playing Rush. He'd need more toms.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
you gotta have the big ass kit, man. You gotta have that 6, 8, 10 tom in there to. Yeah. Oh.
yeah, that's my pick for tonight. Yeah, at least
That's
for
a
now.
great. That's a great pick because I don't know that anybody would feel like this is blasphemy or anything. I would think Neil Peart would want them to play, and want them to play those songs that he wrote.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Why is it we as people think when people die that they would prefer that the world stopped when they died? I mean, I don't want the world to stop when I die. I mean, yeah, that's it. No more doing this show, Victor,
Yeah.
when I'm dead.
All right.
Oh, hell no. Hell no, man. People, I mean, guy, you want your music to live on, and yeah, it'll live on forever in the recorded version and forever. You'll probably be hearing Rush 200 years from now. Probably in the year 2112, you're going to hear Rush.
Probably.
Yeah.
So the drummer was Matt Stone, one of the co-creators of South Park.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I'm blown away that dude's that good of a drummer. Of course, I don't know.
Well, they only played Closer to the Heart. So.
Oh, they took it easy on him. But still, there's not one Rush song that's like, oh yeah, anybody can play that and play it well. I mean, everything Neil did was, I mean, there's a lot of intricacy, it's very intricate.
Yes.
And yeah, not just, I mean, yeah. To play it and make it sound right, but people would go nuts if Alex and Getty did something, and it would fill arenas here, and I'm sure it would, over there. I know Johan over there.
Yeah. So, just to play on Johan's idea of them going out with several different drummers, 5 drummers.
Okay.
Imagine them as the grand finale would be them playing YYZ with all 5 drummers.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be awesome. It would be, it'd be unbelievable. It'd be kind of cool having 5 drum kits in the back, or to have them on platforms that moved around. You could like get the one come up and be in the middle, and then it goes, ooh.
What are you going to say next, Brad? Hologram?
No, I'm not in on this hologram thing. I've never seen it, so I can't say no for sure. I'd have to see it, but it just seems like, why am I watching? I mean, just show footage of the person in their prime, doing stuff. I think that was kind of your idea, is to have the band come out and show footage of stuff, and then have the band talk, kind of in between storyteller kind of thing.
Yeah. I think
that would be really cool.
I think people would go apeshit over that, especially if you have like a big giant like IMAX type screen where you're going to be seeing the band play. It's going to be the best version of any bootleg you've ever seen.
Yeah,
it's going to sound better than anything else you've seen. It's going to look larger than life, and plus, have band members come out and say, hey, this was on this tour, and this happened, and that happened. This is how we came up with this song, and blah, blah, blah. It'd sell out everywhere they'd go. It wouldn't have to be 200 dates, but you do 20 to 50 dates, and all of them are selling out.
Yeah. I mean, look at what Carl Palmer did.
Right.
I mean, he might still be doing, where he would show, footage of the band, and he would play with them.
Right.
He'd play with the footage, which was interesting. But then he also had a band, and they would play as well. And I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And a lot of respect to the original guys, and it all depends on what Getty and Alex would want to do.
Right.
I mean, if they're like, yeah, we're kind of done playing live, which I just can't believe that.
No.
Yeah, some people I guess get to that point. I haven't gotten to that point, and you know, I don't see that in them. I don't see like Getty going, yeah, I don't care if I ever play bass again. Like, he's not
Right.
going to be Mick Brown and sell all his stuff. And
Well,
No, Getty is too playful. He wants to play still. I mean, he's too. He's like 25 still, in many ways. He
right.
wants to.
yes,
Yeah, he still wants to evolve. No, Rush, please do it.
Okay. In the chat, Brad already mentioned, Jose said Stuart Copeland, Chris Sinzak, who just came off of another Rockin' Pod Expo last week, which seems to have gone off pretty well from everything that I've heard. He's saying Peter Chris should play in Rush. Just kidding. So
that's funny.
And Tony is saying that Lars said he doesn't have the ability if asked. So
I think that shows a lot of respect because I mean, you either got to be really good or really stupid to say, yeah, I can play
that. Brad, how about you? What band would you like to put back together again?
That's really tough. I'm kind of glancing down what I'm playing on Yarg right now. And yeah, you're missing people. I have to go with what we're going to talk about next week, Black Sabbath. But now we're missing, let's see, Ozzy's. Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to see Tony Iommi out there playing. He's supposedly, still up for it. But, I think the ball's in his court. The only way it would put butts in the seats is if he marketed it as Black Sabbath, because we all know how he did without Ozzy.
Here's my suggestion to that. I think he should play the his solo album in entirety.
Ooh.
With all the guest singers and players on that. Everyone except for Peter Steele, everyone's still alive. Find someone to fill in the Peter Steele parts, and
I could do that.
That would be really cool.
Stuff like that would be really cool. Here's the problem, though. Let's face it. There's only a handful of us who would put up the money to see that.
Yeah.
The average person isn't going to be. They would walk in. They'd never heard those songs before.
Right. Yeah.
Raise your hand if you own the album. Okay. Yeah. I've got it.
Unfortunately, they'd have to close the show with Paranoid and Iron Man and stuff like that. But
yeah, I think. Yeah, sure.
Go ahead, Johan.
For example, if let's say Tony Iommi would put the Black Sabbath band together with the Tony Martin era and did a European festival tour, the stages would be packed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, especially if they ever get that box set out.
Yeah.
If they could put out that box set, in June and then do the European festival thing. Yeah, you're right. Okay, Johan, you should be marketing this.
Okay, but then who would be the drummer because Cozy Pal's dead?
Bobby Rondinelli.
Bobby Rondinelli, who only played on one of those albums.
He only looks dead.
Eric Singer played on the
Eternal Idol. Yeah. There you go. Eric Singer after Kiss.
Eternal, yeah.
But then again, the band would have to go out under the name Headless Cross or Eternal Idol or something like that because
they couldn't go Sabbath
name.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'd pay to see that.
Oh, absolutely.
And the nice thing is with Tony Martin, if they wanted to pull out any old Sabbath song, he'd sing it.
Yeah.
I don't know how his voice is live anymore, but obviously in the studio he can certainly get the job done. He sounds great.
All right, so here's my pick.
Yeah,
I was scrolling through bands that I have in band playlist that I have in Apple Music.
You're going to say Foreigner, aren't you?
Oh, fuck no. There's no way in hell. I think if I got paid to see that, I'd turn it down.
I like Foreigner.
Yeah,
I like Foreigner
listen,
too. But
I like 70s Foreigner.
the joke is that they don't really have any original members
Well,
other than Mick, who walks out there once in a while for a
Yeah,
chorus.
I know.
But outside of that, after, I think Double Vision is a brilliant album.
Yeah, had a good, fun song to play too.
But after that, I don't know that, and once we got to the 80s with all the shit ballads they were putting out, it's just not my thing. Okay, but I didn't have to go beyond the A's. Isn't an original lineup of a band, but I would like to see John Bush reunite with Anthrax.
I'd love to see that too.
Absolutely, yes.
And there's nothing other than the people involved stopping that from happening, right?
Yeah, essentially. I mean, there are a few things that come into play, and I've asked John point blank about this. When John said he didn't want to tour anymore and he didn't want to do what Anthrax wanted him to commit to, he had just had 2 kids. His daughter and his son were born, so he didn't want to be out on tour while his wife was raising his kids. Then he stepped into, doing voiceover work. So why go out for 8 months a year when, he could do a month, 2 months with Armored Saint and then get that part out of him? He'd do all the shows that he wants with them, and then he doesn't have to, worry about doing anything else. And hey, the answer was right behind me with the Scott Ian guitar behind me here.
There you go. That's a Scott Ian guitar, huh?
Scott Ian, that's a JJ4. That's from 97, if I'm not mistaken.
Cool.
So,
I totally agree with you, Victor. I would like to see, Anthrax. No one is getting any younger, so
right.
See them go out with Neil Turbine, Joey Belladonna, John Bush. I would love to see that show.
You want to do like Halloween, where we bring back everybody and we have 3 singers?
Yeah, who cares? Who cares? It's good. It's good music. Have fun. Yeah.
I actually like Johan's idea too. Do it like Michael Schenker Fest, where when he had the 4 singers each sing their songs, and it was great. And I think as those singers, let's face it, as they're getting older, they're probably like, yeah, I'm cool with only singing 5 songs, or 6 songs or whatever. That's just great.
Robin's the only one there that can really still do it.
That's true. That is very true.
All right, next question here. So, The Darkness are the latest band to announce an anniversary album tour.
20th anniversary, yeah.
25th anniversary.
20. I thought the first album came out in 2003. Well, was it 90s?
Yeah, late 90s, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Let's see. Let me make sure that I'm not messing this up.
No, I'm not a Darkness completist guy. Let's see what I got here.
Yeah, me neither. No, Permission to Land is, so it's
2003. Yeah, it's 2003.
You're right. So I read that wrong somewhere.
Okay, 20 year. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Okay. And Maiden is also doing 2 albums on tour this summer. Is that a good idea to go see bands and see them just do an album in its entirety? Is that something that you're a fan of, or is that something that doesn't interest you at all?
That's a great question. I think the only band I've ever. I'm sorry, Johan. Do you have an answer?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I think as I'm racking my brain to see if I've ever been to a show where a band did all of one album. The only one I can think of is Kicks when they did Blow My Fuse. And I loved it because that's my favorite album of theirs. I mean, if they'd have picked one of the, I don't know, other albums, it wouldn't have been as great for me. But I mean, if it's an album that I really like, I think it's pretty dang cool. Especially, let's face it, some of these bands, some of these songs anyway, maybe have never been played live before.
Right.
So that as a real fan, it's not going to pull in the casual person, but as a real fan, it's kind of cool to see songs live that haven't been done.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with that. As long as it's
Yeah.
not sucks.
I totally agree. I saw Bruce Springsteen in Stockholm, and he played it 3 nights. Yeah, 2000. And I say we say 14. And the night that I went, he played "Darkness on the Edge of Town" from the start to finish.
Okay.
And it was, I mean, one of the best concert memories I have. So for us nerds, we are nerds. Yeah. I mean, it's perfect. I would like any of the bands that we love. I would like to see to do that kind of concept. I think it's good. It's and I mean, it will fill the arenas, at least here in Europe,
Right.
easily. So I love it. Great.
Springsteen in New Jersey, what he used to do was that he would play. He would reserve the one an arena that doesn't exist anymore. So out of the month, he would play. It was like 22 shows in a month at the same place, and every night you would know. Oh, tonight they're playing The River in its entirety. Today they're playing Born to Run. Today they're playing Nebraska, like that. And then there were other nights where it would just be hits. So people that just wanted to see the hits, they got to see that. People that wanted to see the deeper cuts got to see that. If you wanted to see a specific album, you could get tickets for that. So I think that's a cool idea. I've always thought about when the Rolling Stones did, I think it was Voodoo Lounge. They did a stadium, an arena, and a club show in the same city. They would do it
Wow.
one day apart from each other. And they would do the stadium show would be the all the hits. The arena show would be some of those hits and some other songs that they don't play as much. And then the club show would be nothing but deep cuts.
Nice.
And I often wondered, I was like, why doesn't a band like Kiss do this? Why doesn't Iron Maiden do this? Play a big arena and then play a small theater or a small club and pull out songs that, that you haven't played in the longest time. Do I don't know, in the case of Kiss, Love Her All I Can, or Strange Ways, or there's a ton of other songs that they haven't played in eons or never played before, and people would go nuts for that, and people would pay a lot of money for that. That's the other thing that I don't understand why they've never done that. Instead of, we're gonna do, we know Paul's voice is shit. But instead of doing, 4 months straight of touring, play one show at a shed, one show at a smaller venue, or even do it at the same shed. But hey, you want the hits? It's $100 a tickets. You want all the deep cuts? $500 a ticket. And I guarantee you that will sell. The one will sell just as well as the other because the casual fan will gravitate to the greatest hits and the diehard will pay to see those deeper cuts. So
I agree. But yeah, I guess it all goes back to what the band really wants to do.
Yeah. And if you've got a sloth in the band that only wants to play the same old, then that's all they're going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what that's like. There's nothing worse than having somebody in the band who doesn't want to play a song that everybody else wants to play. And then they decide, okay, I'll play it, and then they just kill the song because they play crap. And it's like, what's the point of this?
I've vetoed songs before. I've vetoed doing the Misfit stuff. I've vetoed doing Monster Mash, which they've covered. And I've vetoed doing another song called Saturday Night, which is like a slow, like 50s type song. It's just very boring to play.
Yeah, one of my favorite Misfit songs.
There you go.
See, you broke.
Why didn't you play it?
Yeah, we did. We've always played that song. It's just that right before COVID, we were going to play again, and I said no Saturday Night because it's just me playing the same thing over and over and over again. It's a boring song to play. Getting back to what my question was, I've seen one band play an album live, and I've got the poster to prove it. That's Metallica.
Ooh.
Doing the Black Album in its entirety. It's got the date and everything. I can't read it right now from here, but I thought it was fun. I mean, just seeing them live is always fun, in my opinion. I'm not one of these people that gets hung up on, hey man, Lars can't play the parts anymore. I'm just there to disconnect, have a good time, and enjoy the music. And this is something that Mark always says, if you want to hear it perfect, stay home and listen to the album. You know, and let's be honest, there are bands that are playing their own stuff a lot worse than Metallica is right now. So when people start, and I've 2 weeks in a row on the Patreon podcast, patreon.com/signals from Mars.
$2.
$2. I've talked about the accusations of Motley Crue having everything on tape. There's no way that Vince Neil's vocals are on tape. There's just no way. You know, come on. If that was really on tape, look, I don't think that the backing vocals may not be on tape because they've been caught several times not being in front of mics and the backing vocals going on. But I have a hard time believing that if somebody is lip syncing to vocals, that they're sounding as bad as Vince Neil live. There's just no way. That just can't be happening. So, since let's see, let's get Anthony with the cans on. Yeah. Welcome, Mr. Mackey.
Yeah.
Anthony, so what is your opinion on bands playing albums in their entirety live?
Yeah, I'm into it.
You're into it? Okay.
Yeah, it's it's kind of a case by case situation.
Right.
Well, like I'm a big Marillion fan. They do it quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, generally they'll come out and play their new album from start to finish, but for certain albums I would be into it. Yeah.
Okay. So let's take this question a step further for everyone. What album would you like to see live in its entirety?
This is actually a conversation a friend of mine and myself have had. We're both big King's X fans, and
okay,
we would love if they were to come out and do Gretchen Goes to Nebraska.
Okay.
No, it's never going to happen because Doug has said himself that he can't sing a lot of that stuff anymore. But really? that would be amazing.
Okay. Johan, how about for you?
Oh, I hope that you ask Brad first.
I know. I'm racking my brain trying to think of what album that the band still exists, or I mean, I was going to say something by Judas Priest, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I mean, my favorite Judas Priest album is Stained Class, and I'd love to see that, but I just don't know that it'd be as good, you know?
Yeah, that's the other dilemma.
Band.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the songs I've heard them do recently is the last 10 years off of that album, haven't been that great. Not great renditions. So, but if in a fantasy world, that's one album I'd love to hear played live, front to back. Stained Class, Judas Priest.
All right.
Yeah. From the top of my head, I would like to see Maiden do Somewhere in Time from start to finish, with perhaps the whole stage setup, and Somewhere in Time.
Do we get decent guitar sound this time around?
No, I want the synth guitars. As we have spoken about before, perhaps not in this podcast, perhaps it was in Mark's podcast, but
could be,
yeah. But I would like to see them as they were in '86 with the synth guitars. Yeah,
that's actually a great band to pick, though, Johan, because those guys, whatever album you'd pick, they would do a hell of a job at it. I mean, they still sound so good right now. We saw them last summer. It was unbelievable how good they were. And it's just like, nothing lacking.
Plus, you didn't have Yannick prancing around on stage during Somewhere in Time. So just imagine Yannick prancing in Eddie's hands.
Yeah, it would be like sprinkling fairy dust on the whole proceedings.
There you go. Now, would Bruce come out with the half-shaven face?
He had a half-shaven face on
there?
Yeah. He would shave part of his face, and the other half would be mustache and beard.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
What was the concept behind that?
Because he was pissed off at Steve Harris for the album, and that was his way of getting back at him.
Classy.
That's like, yeah, exactly. That's a little childish.
No.
Well, whatever.
Tony in the chat is saying Kiss, Creatures of the Night. That's one I would love as well. All-time favorite album. But
Victor's going to pick something different, though.
No, I'm going to pick something different because what you said with regards to Stained Class, there's no way that they can come close to singing that album live. I mean,
no, it's like when I hear him do Beyond the Realms of Death now, I mean, it's just not, it's not the same. You know?
But then
when I saw him do it in '77.
The next question is, what full album gigs have you seen?
We already said that, actually.
Oh, okay.
You're late to that party, so
I'm late. Okay.
Yeah.
What? Anything interesting?
I got the poster behind me over here. Metallica do the Black Album. Where am I going? Right here.
They did it backwards, didn't they? Or
no, it was in a. My memory may be fucked up on this, but it was in a different order. Because I think that they played. Yeah, because Enter Sandman they played as part of the encore, but they played one of the. I think My Friend of Misery may have been the next to last song that they played off of it. They played it in a different order. I remember that.
Wait a second. How did I forget this? I mean, Queensryche, when they on the Empire tour, when they did all Operation Mindcrime.
Yeah, that was very good.
That was the best ever. I mean, I would have paid to see that 20 times on that tour.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen that as well.
So good.
I saw that.
Yeah, and I saw it too, and it was a surprise. Like, did you know they were going to do that? I didn't.
Oh, yeah, I knew that was coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
but,
yes.
I like the way they did it, too, because they started off, played some songs, and then they did the album, and then they played some songs from the albums, and they mixed it up. They mixed it up really good. And I saw him twice. I saw him here. I saw him in Boise, Idaho, and saw him in Salt Lake City. And the interesting thing there was the show they did in Salt Lake City had at least 3 extra songs that they didn't play in Idaho. I don't know why that happened. But
too many potatoes while up there.
Yeah.
Couldn't play
as one does when they're in Idaho.
Yeah, famous potatoes.
Like Mr.
Anthony, you're right. They played it in reverse order. So there's my memory.
I just read that.
So they did Hit the Lights, Master of Puppets, Shortest Straw, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Hell and Back, which is off of the EP that they put out, Beyond Magnetic.
Yeah.
What that was called. And then they did Black Album Backwards. And then the encore was Battery, One, and Seek and Destroy.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, I was happy. Trying to think. No, I haven't seen anyone else.
I have seen, as you said, I've seen Queenstrike. I forgot to say, and I saw Fish doing a Misplaced Childhood from beginning to end. I wasn't in the age to see when it really happened, but I saw him at Sweden Rock, and when they did it, and that was absolutely fantastic because it was at the third biggest stage at Sweden Rock, perhaps an audience of 15,000 people, I guess, and you know, when he started to playing, he started with 2. I think from Fugazi, or I don't remember, but when we started playing that from Misplaced Childhood, Absuedo Silk Kimono, I mean, it was all grown men in tears. So it was, I mean, from the start to finish, wow, to see that. I will never forget that. It was absolutely amazing. What a masterpiece of an album.
You just reminded me, I saw that in '85. I saw Marillion doing it.
Probably you did.
It was on that tour. They did about 3 or 4 gigs, Ireland being two of them, maybe 3 of them. And then Fish lost his voice, and they had to cancel the rest of the tour. Yeah,
that's awesome.
So we're quite lucky there. But yeah, I've seen a good few. I saw, well, if we're going back as far as then yes, I saw that. Queensryche. And then I've seen a few others that wouldn't be considered metal. I think I saw Wild Hearts play, and they were doing the whole of one of their big albums, like Wild Hearts, fucking Wild Hearts, or something like that. I don't know.
Right.
But I wasn't familiar with the album, so I didn't really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I've seen The Wedding Present do it. I've seen a couple of the bands do it. It's a weird experience because you know what's coming, and
Right.
And generally they'll play a song or two, or maybe a good few that they've just had to relearn.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to get the greatest renditions.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Jeff Tate doing Operation Mindcrime as well. Yeah.
It wasn't as good, was it?
No, it wasn't. Of course not.
I've seen him do Operation Mindcrime front to back. I don't know how many times, but it wasn't even not even 50% as good as the original band doing it.
No, of course not. But it was a good night out. He's coming back to Dublin in October to do it again. So he loves Ireland.
Yeah. He's coming somewhat close to me, and he's going to be doing, I think, Empire and Rage to Order in their entirety.
Wow.
See, I'd go see that.
Rage to Order. Yeah, anytime. Yeah.
I'd go see him do that because you're not going to get, toddler. It'd be nice if if Queensryche would do that kind of a thing, but they really should play more of their new stuff. in my opinion.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry to have you rehashing a subject that you were probably finished with.
No,
No,
we can speak about this forever.
you're getting me on this Marillion rabbit hole. I need to. Yeah, we need to talk offline because I got to get back into listening to Marillion.
Jesus, hope you got a shovel.
Give me, yeah. Give me a couple of albums. Well, I listened to that one album you told me about that one time, and I liked it. But
Oh
I
yeah,
can't
Script.
remember what it was now.
That was Script. That was their first album.
Script.
Yeah, Script for Justice Tier.
Okay.
That's a that's a tough listen.
I didn't think so, but I'm a tough listener.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So, all right, just to wrap this question up, the one album I'd love to see, I've been going through my playlist here to see different bands, and I think I just hit upon one, and we're never ever going to see this live because the singer, there's no way that he could pull it off. Now, I've always said that I would love to see this album played in its entirety with Michael Starr from Steel Panther singing lead vocals.
Oh, totally. I know where you're going with this.
Where am I going?
Van Halen.
Nope.
What? Okay, let's hear it.
Eat 'em and Smile, David Lee Roth. With
Oh, well, that's close enough, isn't it?
Close.
Yeah, very close.
Very close. But get him to get Michael Starr from Steel Panther, because Dave obviously can't do it anymore.
Yeah,
And
dude.
have them do. This is the one album, in my opinion, out of any Van Halen related album outside of the original albums and the last one where Dave came back, that comes remotely close to those first few Van Halen albums, in my opinion. So
I think it's better than one or two of them.
there you go.
Well, aside from that album, I think it would be cool if they could do something like that. But I don't know. I mean, it'd be weird for them to do it with David Lee Roth still alive. That's what would be kind of weird.
It was close to happening.
I know.
It was very close to happening in LA.
Yep. Fire department shut him down.
Fire department shut it down because the rumor was Dave was showing up, even though Michael Starr was going to sing. A limo pulled up and everyone went running towards the door, and the fire department said, nope, show's canceled. So, and it's a shame that they were never able to do anything to remotely get those people back together again. Would have been cool.
Yeah, I think Steve Vai even told the fire marshal that he'd pay the fine.
Yeah. So,
It's like,
all right, next question here. What, in your opinion, makes a great metal show on radio? Is it the songs? Is it the host? Is it the discussion between the songs? What do you guys think would make the ultimate metal show on a radio station? Brad, you run Yard Metal. What do you think?
well, this is actually an idea I've been trying to figure out how to pull off, and that's when we do our discussion about a particular album or a year or whatever, is to get everybody to introduce a song. They'll pick, obviously pick a song, introduce it, talk about why it's important to them, and then play the song, and then move on. Kind of like what I did with AC/DC and Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, which I've kind of fallen off that. But having, maybe I should bring that back. I don't know if you guys would participate in that or not. I know Victor would.
I did in the past.
Yeah, and it was the coolest thing, especially when I'd run them, start to finish in everybody's intro, and I personally I loved listening to that, and I know other people that would tune in and listen to it. But then you'd always get these people that after it was over, it's like, when are you going to do it? I missed it. When are you going to do it again? And it's like, how many times am I going to do this? It needs to be, in today's world, everything needs to be on demand.
Right.
Unfortunately.
And you can't do it with the music.
Yeah, I can though, but because we're paying. We're paying all the fees to use the music, so that's why I'm saying we could do this. So we can talk about this off the air about how we could possibly do this and what we'd want to do. but I think it would be a blast. So there you go.
Okay.
But I think having, it's like when you talked about your favorite AC/DC song, it got me into it. I'm like, I want to hear this song now. Say Jeremy. I mean, let's face it, Jeremy he needs to be doing this as a living. He is so good. He is so good talking about the song before playing it, and his insight and he's just wonderful. He's got that great accent too. I bet Johan, of course, would be brilliant. Anthony would be great. All you guys would be great. And
Johan says no, but Johan just has the fear of having to do it live. If Johan was able to prepare,
yeah, no, you could record. I'd let you record it first, Johan, and then we'll put it in. You could even do it in Swedish.
Yeah,
because we have a lot of listeners in Sweden.
Actually, I'm a good talker, but the language barrier is a thing for me here at this show. I think in English when we speak, but I can't get it. I'm good at English, but it's hard. But at the question, nowadays, I really like this kind of shows. That's what I listen to when speaking about rock shows. When we, talk a lot about a song, a band, or a drum sound, or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm gotten to this point that I like those kind of discussions. So that's why I'm here, and that's why I listen to with Martin Popoff and his shows. I don't agree with him. Probably that's amazing how journalists can get so popular and have wrong opinions about everything.
You can say that about almost everybody that's popular.
I mean, Martin Pop. I mean, he's respected, but he's wrong in every. I mean, if he has a top 10 list, he's wrong. He's wrong.
Yeah, let's bring Martin on here with Johan and let's stir it up.
That would be great. He's such a snob.
I've interviewed Martin before. I've had him on a long time ago, and it was funny because he did something. Didn't even get to a book. He did a PDF that I purchased on Fastaway, and I wrote him and I said, "Hey, you realize that you're missing all of this stuff from this era, and that there's stuff here that you've left out, and blah blah blah." He didn't even bother responding, but it was interesting how I approached him, and the same day he goes, "Well, let's just do the interview today and get it over with." Okay.
Yeah,
let's knock it out. Hey, and I don't know, if somebody wrote me something, they didn't like something I played or whatever, I would respond to them, and I would like to think I wouldn't be a dick about it, but I think it's being more of a dick not to respond to somebody.
Wow.
Especially in your case, you're not trying to be an a-hole. You're just trying to be like, hey, you need to address this stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's my inner music nerd saying, hey, did you realize this or did you realize that? So there's often there's an old magazine where Eddie Clark was interviewed about various things, and he talks about the fact that he would go to the grave owing Sony Records $300,000 because Dave King wanted to incorporate the London Philharmonic and an entire boys choir in the album Waiting for the Roar. And they also had to record it at Abbey Road Studios.
Wow.
So none of that is ever discussed. And I think that that's a pertinent thing to talk about, why that band kind of fragmented. And Dave King doesn't want to talk about the band anymore because of, him being in Flogging Molly and all that. But the truth of the matter is that he kind of blackmailed Eddie Clark Eddie Clark wanted him to return, and he said, "Okay, you need to fire the rest of the band and bring my mates from Ireland down to form the rest of Fastaway." And that's what he did, and they bailed after 2 albums. So, anyway, off topic. Johan, go ahead.
Yeah, for the record, I like to say that Martin Popoff's books are really good.
Well, as spoken like a true Swede, you had to throw the nice stuff in there.
So, Johan, you come from the land of hard rock and metal where it's all over the radio. You just said you need discussion over music. All right.
Mhm.
So, Anthony, for you, if there's a metal show on the radio, what do you need to have happen?
Well, there used to be a metal show on the national radio station, and there is metal shows on pirate stations at the moment. I don't know. I think a good mix between old and new and factual information, gig news, interviews, and no bullshit. That's kind of what, just a kind of, well, that's my preference is just for a kind of a flat information. I don't want somebody spouting their opinions. I don't know. I'm not sure I would even listen anyway, so it's hard for me to say.
No, that's fine.
I think, but podcasts are the new radio, I guess.
Yeah.
And that interview, you sent me the interview with Doug Pinnick. I know I was talking about King's X, but you sent me that interview, and that was really well put together.
Yeah.
Wow. You had bits of music floating in and out. You had, when they talked about something, you heard a bit of the thing. Just a well constructed show.
Yeah. Ron is a pro. Again, someone that I've had on here, but Ron has also produced morning radio across the U.S. for years. He's now on National Public Radio in the U.S. He's on NPR. So he knows his shit. And I would expect nothing less. I was listening to that, and all I kept thinking about was, man, Anthony's going to love this. and it's weird because the interview was great. That interview was so many emotions for me. It was great. It was depressing. It was happy. It was so many things because Doug Pinnick is talking about different parts of his life. I've got goosebumps talking about this now. And it's weird because I think we all go through a lot of the same emotions that he was talking about. And you're hearing about some guy that, most of us have seen, up on a pedestal, because of his music and everything. And he talks about the harsh reality of his life and the fact that when he says that he was 40 when Gretchen Goes to Nebraska, broken.
Yeah, I remember when they supported AC/DC 91 in Dublin. They were on the cover of Kerrang that week, and it was a kind of a tell-all interview where it came out, that he was 40,
right?
As if that was a big deal, but it was back then,
Yeah.
And I met him in Dublin the day before that gig, and I think about it now. It's just like, fuck, it's hard to believe he was that age then, and but he's so realistic, so down to earth, and really realistic. That interview talking about being near the end of his life, and
absolutely.
I like the perspective he has now about how, look, we've done all right, because that's always been the kind of the line that people throw out about King's X, like the band that never made it, should have made it, never made it. And he's like, we did fine,
Yeah.
That was a breath of fresh air to hear that.
Yeah. There's if you realistically look at it, there are a lot of bands that made less waves, made less money
Yeah, of course.
than they did. I mean, for if making it, if there are any specific rules, to me, I mean, they were a band that was all over MTV in the early days. In the middle of the 90s, when New York still had cool radio stations, cool commercial radio stations, the Dogman album was played all the fucking time. They played that title track all the time. They played Complain all the time. They played Shoes all the time. So they got a lot of coverage, you know. So for people to say that, you know, I can think of other bands that were compared to, oh, Galactic Cowboys is the next King's X. Galactic Cowboys came nowhere close to being as big or as influential as King's X.
No. They've got a few good albums as well, though.
Yeah. No, not to downplay anything that they've done, but
anyway, but yeah, look at that. I was just using that. The construction of that show as an example of something that was really well done.
And I think you're absolutely right. The podcasting to me is where it's at, only because I see it every day where I've got, I don't know how many podcasts that I'm subscribed to on my phone. There are some certain podcasts that I listen to every day because they're short. They give me the information that I want. But when it comes to music podcasts, a lot of them nowadays, it's like, okay, are they really talking about what I want to hear? Are they annoying me today? Do I not want to hear this? And, you know, I'm just going to skip to another show, because that happens too, where I'll be in the middle of a walk or whatever, and I'll be like, yeah, this isn't happening today. I want to listen to something else. And that's the power of that, you know, with radio too, I think. And we're seeing it everywhere. It's happened on satellite already, where they're playing all, you know, those same 50 fucking songs that every other station has played. So what's the point? What's the point to hear Crazy Train for the 800 millionth time, where, you know, if I want to hear that song, it'll be at my leisure, like that one day a year where all of a sudden I want to pull out Crazy Train. Then after that, okay, I'm good. Next 300 some odd days. So yeah, and I mean, I think the discussion gets me more than anything. I think what you laid out, Anthony, is like the utopia. I mean, a little old, a little new, some discussion without any like real like drama involved, you know, let you know what shows are coming, let you know who's coming out with an album, you know, stuff like that. It's unfortunate that we've lost that. You know, there was great stuff like that before, and it's now all, you know, evolved into, oh, well, you know, what salacious stuff is this person saying, or what's, you know, and it's kind of like, man, I just want to hear the music. I just want to hear this stuff. If I want to hear people bickering, you know, I've got work, or I've got, you know, my neighbors or whatever. I've got that in real life. I want to disconnect for a few minutes here, you know? So anyway, next topic here. We brought up Operation Mindcrime before. Concept albums. Do you guys love them? Do you guys loathe them? Some work, some don't work. To me, I mean, Mindcrime to me is brilliant. The original Mindcrime is brilliant. I don't know. I always have a soft spot for Iron Maiden, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son as well. I know that some people want to compare it to other stuff, but for that point in time and those songs, that album has a lot of good music on it, in my opinion. A lot of the quote unquote unknown tracks off of that are so good. The title track off of that is so good. Infinite Dreams, which is like a smaller single off of that's such a good song. And I mean, if you're of our age and you had access to MTV back then, I mean, yes, Can I Play with Madness is probably the most known song off of that, but The Clairvoyant and the Evil That Men Do were on MTV all the damn time. Those songs to me are just so great. I love those songs. And I mean, as a kid, even before this, my brother had The Wall by Pink Floyd. I mean, it was just something that blew my mind as a kid. You mean all these songs together tell a story? Wow, this is like, again, this is what got me into music. You mean it's storytelling plus music? This exists? This is amazing. Brad, for you, concept albums, do they work? Do they not work? What are some of your favorites? What are some you don't like?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with your some are good and some are not good. I think the problem is that when people set out to do this, there's already a framework for it from stuff that's gone before.
Right.
And either they're going to copy that or they're going to try to, I don't know. It's gotta be good. And for me, Operation Mindcrime is the perfect album as far as a concept album, because there is a real story there. You can actually, the ones that, it's like, well, this is a concept album. I'm still like, what? I don't understand what the story is here.
Right.
It's like maybe the songs are all related in a way, but I mean, you talk about Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, which is that song really almost 10 minutes long? I don't think so.
Oh, yeah. It
wow.
is.
Wow.
That and the song after it.
Yeah, I'm looking at what I'm playing off of that album right now. I'm only playing Moonchild and Infinite Dreams. I could probably get a couple more off of there. But I don't really pick up a story in that album. I mean, I guess there is, but
yeah, it's the birth and death of the seventh son of seventh son.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it could be worse. Could be Crimson Idol by Wasp.
Somebody made me listen to that once, and I was just like, I don't know. Maybe it was the drums. Does Stet Howland play the drums on that?
Frankie Benally plays on that.
Really? Oh, then it's probably not that. It's not that album. It was another one that he did. That was
Stet joined the band later on, and then there's stuff that because Blackie didn't want to pay Frankie. There's like dirty dealings with who played on what at some point. And there's one album where Blackie has credit for playing the drums and it's Frankie. So
anyway, I don't want to go down that road, but if something's good, it's good. That's the way I look at it. It's I don't have if somebody says they're doing a concept album, I'll be like, okay, well, let's see if I like it.
Yeah.
And,
Johan, for you?
Yeah. Have you heard about 2112?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Right in front of us.
The album's not really concept album though. It's just the one song, which is that's
the entire song takes up an entire album side.
Yeah, I know, and that is a perfect. I could.
That's good album.
That. It kind of pisses me off when I only hear part of it. It's like I need to hear the whole thing. It's that good.
Wow.
So perfect example, Johan.
That's American radio who chops that up throughout the day.
That's a good album. I have another one that I really, really love. It's Porcupine Tree, The Incident.
Okay.
Probably you haven't heard it, but
No.
amazing album. Really one of the best albums that and concept album, I don't know, but A Misplaced Childhood by Marillion, it's wow, 10 out of 10, one of the best albums ever made. So I don't listen to bad albums, so I only take the good examples here.
Okay.
King Diamond, Them, also a good album. Abigail, King Diamond, also a good album. So there are some good concept albums there. So yeah,
you'll have when I asked Charlie Benante about Abigail, he said, "Oh no, the album that I like is Don't Break the Oath." Or did I ask him about Abigail? No, I asked him about Melissa. is the album that I asked him about. That's Merciful Fate, though.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right, mixing those two up. Anthony, how about you?
Well, Victor's already mentioned Misplaced Childhood, which is a concept album that you can kind of follow. Like, how many people have heard Operation Mindcrime? Like, can you tell me the story of Operation Mindcrime? Probably no. But I like concept albums where
Good.
there's kind of a loose theme. I don't like this happened and then this happened and then this. Like some people would consider Clutching at Straws to be a concept album because it's all based around alcohol and self-destruction. And then you've got Brave, which is this is Merlin again.
Yeah, no, I figured as much.
Brave, which is quite literal. That's almost like a story. You can follow that one. But even in the next album, Afraid of Sunlight, it could be considered a concept, but it's kind of loosely associated themes, So does that make it a concept? I don't know. And I'm going to bore everyone here, but last year, Weezer brought out 4 albums,
Right.
spring, summer, autumn, winter, and there is a loose concept running through them all, and it's not something you can actually listen to and point your finger at, but it's more of a feeling. It's like a tone that goes through almost every song. Not every song on it, but almost. Like there's 28 songs there. So there. I don't know what I'm actually saying. I'm just listing albums that I like.
No, that's cool.
And even a friend of mine, Gary, brought out an album there last 2 weeks ago, and all the songs again have this theme, but it's not a concept album,
Right.
So I like that.
Okay.
And yeah, that probably happens as songwriters are writing anyway. Their headspace
Right.
writes 10 or 12 songs, and it'll be different for the next record.
So there's no chance of any concept album by the Middle Ages?
No, not in the literal sense, but like these bunch of songs that I'm working on now, like there's a kind of they're all written within the space of 6 months, so they all come from the same headspace,
Yeah.
But if you can, is that considered a concept album? Probably not, but again, it's a theme.
Yeah. Well, it's an album. It's like an old photo album. It's from a period of time where you're capturing ideas of what's going on at that time. It's very similar. Tony in the chat is saying Coheed and Cambria have concept albums career. Yeah, they have a story that they've arced over a series of albums.
That's cool.
So
it'd be nice if they had the music to go with it. Sorry. I have tried so many times to listen to them and enjoy it, and it's just, it's not awful. It's just, it just doesn't move me. I don't know why.
There are a few songs of theirs that I like, but I'm of the same opinion. But there's a lot of bands that people like that I feel the same way, and I respect it. If you like it, you like it.
Me too.
Mean that I have to get it.
Yeah.
Did anyone listen to that Dream Theater album that came out a couple of years ago? That they made a huge deal at the time of release.
The, like Broadway thing.
I can't remember what it was called, but like I read about the concept for it.
I know. I tried. If it's the one that's like a musical, I tried listening to that, and
it was like music has been banned, and I was like, that sounds very familiar,
Yeah.
Uh, I didn't. I couldn't listen to it.
Yeah, I struggled with that too. I was like, yeah, this is not for me.
Yeah, their stuff I either really really like or bores me to tears. One or the other. There's no middle ground.
I like their last album a lot. I think their
Last
last
album wasn't bad. Yeah.
was pretty good. It was very enjoyable.
All right. So to wrap things up here, some new tracks that I posted today. New music came out this week from Wolfgang Van Halen's Mammoth WVH, and we got single number 3 from the upcoming LA Guns album. I posted them earlier today to see if people would get a chance to listen to them before tonight. But has anyone got to listen to either one of the 2 tracks? Brad, did you get to hear either one?
Yeah, I heard the Mammoth song, and I
Okay.
liked it. I liked it a lot. It's really I like what he did introducing the actual band now that he's not playing everything like he did on the first album. I thought that was kind of cool. Well done. The song I liked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's pretty dang cool.
Okay.
I didn't hear the Guns song, but I'll definitely check that out.
Okay. Johan, how about you?
No, sorry to say I haven't done my homework, so I
Oh, boy.
can't. So
Is
sorry.
that a Swedish thing? Not doing your homework?
Yeah,
Because that's why I never did my homework in high school. Maybe that's why, because I'm part Swedish.
yeah.
I should
I'm
I should tell that to my teacher.
I'm a rock and roll guy. I can't do homework.
I actually did tell my math teacher, and I think it was when I was a sophomore, and she would get frustrated with me because I never did my homework. But I got A's on everything and the test, and the other people in the class were pissed off. And she called me out in class. She says, "Well, what are you going to do?" It was like a Twisted Sister video. It was like, "What are you going to do with your life?" And I said, "I'm going to be a rock star." And she about tore her hair out when I said that, and she was done with me. Done with me. I really thought I was going to be a rock star. So there you go.
What, you mean you're not?
Well, I'm not. Some people have told me that I am, and I'm cool with that. But I don't consider myself a rock star.
Well, I'm a rock star within this room. That's about it.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. As long as somebody else looks at me and feels that makes me happy. But no, I'm just a dude, a doctor dude, doctor dude. Yeah. All right.
Anthony, did you get a chance to hear either song?
I did not.
Okay.
No.
Real quickly, since Brad didn't get to hear did hear the Mammoth, I thought the song was decent. I'm still waiting for Wolfgang. I think he's just, and I don't want him to do Van Halen by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that a lot of what he's done so far has been kind of safe.
Yeah.
Where I think that he could put something out that could really blow our minds, and I don't think he's done that yet. As far as the LA Guns, I'm a big fan. I like what they've released so far, and last few songs have reminded me a lot of in the flavor of Led Zeppelin. This is no different. It's got a like slow, not acoustic, but almost acoustic type intro, and then once the drums kick in and everything, it's really, it's in the vein of 70s hard rock. I think maybe that's a better way of looking at it. I still think that they're probably one of the most underrated bands of that era, and I think that they've always consistently put out at least a few good songs per album.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I have the promo. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but it comes out, I think, the same day as the Metallica album. So, still some time.
Here's the thing with LA Guns. I mean, obviously they got some really, really strong fans, but yet, and they act like they're all that, but they're playing clubs here. I mean, that's as big as they can get here in the U.S. is playing a club.
But that's the same thing everywhere. They played years ago when I just moved here to Spain, and they played a bar. It wasn't even a club. It was a bar that had 200 people in it.
Yeah. Well, Yeah, I don't quite get that. You think these guys would be a little bit more?
I think there's a big stigma to them because of the era that they came out in. Their big claim to fame is a sappy ballad. And I mean, I think that their debut album is brilliant and is up there with a lot of the big albums that came out from LA. I know that not a lot of people feel that way. I think that Cocked and Loaded gets a lot more attention because of that, because it had the two big hits off of it, and it got on MTV, but it doesn't necessarily have their best material. So let's see. Before wrapping things up here, Jose asked a question in the chat. Any thoughts on the Cure's small victory to make Ticketmaster reimburse some of the fees they charged for their North American tour? I will be benefiting from the small refund.
Nice.
So, yeah. So I'm not 100% up with the story. If I'm not mistaken, they had Ticketmaster refund a bunch of the fees that they charged fans for buying tickets, which is kind of ridiculous because they have handling fees when no one is handling anything. It's all digital nowadays, and you're using your own computer ink or printer ink, or you're flashing your ticket on your phone. So it's not as if, it's kind of the transition from CDs to MP3s. Bands should make more money for the sale of MP3s because there isn't any physical property or physical content that may actually be destroyed in transport or anything like that. There's no scratches to be found. If the file's corrupted, you re-download it. I think it's kind of the same nowadays. So I don't know that will ever change, but at least I'm glad that something like this did happen. Johan and Anthony, is Ticketmaster, have they gotten their grubby hands on the ticket scene in your respective countries?
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, buying a ticket for a gig is probably, I don't know, it's up there with moving house as one of the most horrible things you have to do.
Yeah.
Like, when a band gets announced that I want to go see, if they're big, it's almost bad news. It's like, oh God, now I have to go through all this shit and deal with their app and deal with their charges, and like it's a misery. I'm lucky that it doesn't happen too often, that the bands I want to go see it wouldn't be hugely popular, but yeah. And there are alternatives here now. It was like Eventbrite and Ticket Booth, and but sometimes just for your gig to sell, you have to have it on Ticketmaster because that's where most people wouldn't even know about the other avenues. So look, good on the Cure.
Yeah. Johan, in Sweden, it's the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely the same thing. Luckily, we have a couple of other smaller ticket sales office that, if you go to see Saxon at a rock club, you don't have to buy the ticket through Ticketmaster. You can buy it through other companies. So that's a good thing. But, of course, when Springsteen come here, Metallica and Maiden, etc., it's always Ticketmaster and all the problems that follow us that. So, probably absolutely the same thing here.
Yeah. I've mentioned this before. We were looking at tickets to go see Muse and Royal Blood, who are going to be playing close to my house. And after the Ticketmaster fees, it's 300 euros to go. It's 300 something for four of us. And the tickets are 56 euros before fees. So, it's ridiculous. It's like 30 some odd euros per ticket in fees. So
sickening.
Yeah. The thing that pisses me off about it, and it is, just tell me how much this is going to cost me up front.
Yeah.
don't wait till I'm ready to pay and then all of a sudden, wait a second, what is all this? I just clicked on $56 and now it's 120.
Right.
What just happened here?
Well,
Tell me up front.
and,
This ticket's going to cost you 120 bucks.
and that's a good point, because here in Spain, for example, when you go food shopping, unless you go to certain stores, legally they have to include the price that you see underneath what you're buying needs to include all the fees and everything. Needs to include taxes, everything. So when you go up to the register, if it says 20 euros, you're paying 20 euros. There's
Yes.
no surprises when you get there. And that's what it should be. It should be like that with everything, so that when you go to pay, you know what you're paying. There's no hidden fees, there's no additional tax, there's no nothing. So, unfortunately, with all the proceedings that they had with Ticketmaster in the US, with Ticketmaster and Live Nation saying, "Oh, what do you mean? There's more competition than ever." Says a company that owns or manages to sell 85% of all tickets worldwide. How the hell is there more competition if you're the company that's selling 85% of all the tickets worldwide? That's just nonsense. That's an obvious monopoly everywhere. And I think, it obviously all came about because of Taylor Swift, but it seemed to me like there were a bunch of senators and congressmen that their kids got butthurt for not being able to get tickets. So, much like the PMRC in the 80s, they started congressional hearings. And at the end of the day, they probably just comped all these congressmen and congresswomen tickets for shows. And then that's the end of the story. Oh, okay. We did our due diligence. Fuck, you did, when these ticket prices are this ridiculous.
Here's the other thing that's really stupid about it is when it's a percentage of the ticket. And yeah, Nathan, my 21-year-old son, was talking about this the other day. He says, so if I buy a $200 ticket, why should the fees be higher than if I bought a $100 ticket? I mean, you guys, is it really that much harder to send me that $200 ticket? You guys working extra hard over there for that one?
It's heavier. The ticket is actually the $200 ticket isn't printed on paper. It's printed on a piece of lead.
Yeah.
So it's literally heavier.
Yeah, that's the other stupid thing about it. I mean, if you're going to charge a fee, it's like, we figure, considering all the people we're paying in the background to, take care of all our computers and all this kind of stuff, and make sure they only crash when it's Taylor Swift. We feel like we need a piece of the action here. Okay, well, $5 per ticket, fine. And then just lump that in with the price of the ticket, make that the price of the ticket.
Yeah.
The whole percentage thing is just, it's insane.
It's just another way for them to make more money.
I know.
All it is.
Yeah.
So, on that note, any parting words, Johan? Anything to say before we wrap things up? Your mic's turned off.
No, we lost him.
Oh my God! No. Thank you, everyone, for a nice evening, as usual. So, see you next week.
Awesome.
We're doing a Black Sabbath special.
Absolutely.
I wasn't sure if I was going to get on here today, but I was out earlier on, and I was listening to last week's show.
Okay.
The podcast version.
Yeah.
And me too.
Victor. No, not Victor. Johan was the reason I wanted to come back tonight, because he promoted the joy of the chats, very well, and he was having such a good time last week, and I thought that's great. I gotta get in.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. I always say this, and I'm not bullshitting anyone. It's always fun to talk to all of you guys. The week can be a big shit sandwich, and Friday night rolls around. It's like, all right, I'm going to talk about some music. Things are all right now. So,
yeah. Be good to get some new faces. That'd be nice.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm always trying. It's
Yeah.
just people aren't,
It's hard.
it's hard, definitely hard. Brad, anything you want to say before we wrap things up?
Yeah, I feel like part of my Patreon fee should be going to Johan. No, because he's wonderful. And guy Anthony, thank you so much for jumping in with us, because it's always a treat to hear from you.
No problem.
And speaking of treat, one of these days, Johan, we got to talk about the band Treat. Not tonight, but one of these days. Okay.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the treat special.
All right, not next week, but yeah. So Anthony, I have a question for Anthony. Are you going to join us for the Black Sabbath discussion?
Yeah, fucking right.
That's what I want to hear. All right.
I've been listening to nothing but Black Sabbath for the last 2 weeks, so
No wonder you're smiling.
so it's been great. I've really enjoyed it.
Cool.
Awesome. Okay. So here, Victor, I'm going to take a second. I'm going to challenge everybody listening to this now, or whenever you listen to this. Hopefully you listen to it before next Friday, but all the patrons should be here, and anybody who. How can you not like Black Sabbath? If you don't, why are you listening to this? You gotta be here. Be here live and jump in the chat. I think Victor does a nice job of checking out the stuff in the chat. I try to keep a look at it as well. And thank you for all those people that are chiming in there. So yeah. I know next week CEO Dave's gonna be chatting in there.
Oh, so his favorite band.
His favorite band, yeah. So yeah, join us, and thank you, Victor, for hosting this soiree.
Well, I enjoyed doing it, and I thank you guys for being here. Also want to thank Tony, Jose, and Chris Sinzak for joining us in the chat throughout the show. Thanks to anyone that's listening to this on the podcast version. That's exactly why we do it, so that when you're out and about and don't feel like sitting in front of a screen, you want to take us with you, you can listen as well. So, and as Brad said, if you want to participate, don't be shy. Join us in the chat. Go to signalsfrommars.com for more information, ways that you can figure out how to join us. And if you want to be a patron and be part of the Black Sabbath special and vote, as Brad is holding up, it's not V for victory. That's $2.
I'm going to say one other thing about that. I mean, anybody listening here wants to join us for $2 a month. I love you for doing that. Okay. But I'm also going to say you're a cheap bastard. You should kick in more than that.
Well,
I say that with all the love in my heart for bastards.
Money is tough. So whatever people can give, I'm more than happy that they can help the cause and help us more than anything to keep this going. Because the prices keep going up year after year, and it's not cheap. So, anyway, thank you guys. Hey, look, Sean Richmond joins us as we're saying goodbye.
Hey,
that was me last week.
Sean, as the Beatles said, kind of in reverse. I don't know why you say hello. We say goodbye. And actually, that's something that Amen says in the song. So I should say that as well. Busy here. It's good to be busy.
Yeah.
So, thanks for jumping in last second. Either way, we love you just the same. Anyway, guys, thanks again for listening or watching. We'll see you next time right here on Signals from Mars. See you, folks.
Thank you for watching the Signals from Mars live stream. You can watch the show live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, or check out replays on YouTube. Go to signalsfrommars.com for more information. This concludes our show.